The Spirit in the Body by Robert Crosbie. Letter 22. Why is it necessary to sleep? Primarily, because the nature of the body is such that it can stand the impact of the life current needed to allow the exhibition of waking consciousness, for a portion of the time, only. The resistance of waking consciousness must cease, so that the current flows through the body unobstructed, thus renewing the ability to withstand the impact. This impact during loss of sleep tends to break down the cells of the body and organs faster than new ones can be formed. The body will die from lack of sleep more quickly than from lack of food. It is the body that sleeps, the ego does not. When the impact of life grows too strong for the body, the power to function through it ceases. The ego, therefore, functions in other sheaths until the body becomes equilibrized. The ego lives its own separate life whenever it becomes free from the trammels of matter, that is, during the physical sleep. Its thoughts are not subjective pictures in the brain, such as our thoughts when the body is in use, but living acts, realities, for they instantly realize themselves in action by the power of Kriya Sakti, that power which transforms ideas instantaneously into visible forms. Sometimes these thought actions are reflected in the brain and the person says, "I dreamed thus and so." He feels as though he had lived through something as a person, which means his brain consciousness, whereas as such he had not, but what he perceived through the brain were partial impressions, usually distorted, as other ideas mingle by the power of the association of ideas. It can be seen, then, why right thought and right action must prevail in order to be able to use the higher knowledge on this plane. Right thought prepares the thinking principle, and right action so prepares the physical brain that no distortion arises from it. The real man knows, the evanescent personality does not know, in the race generally, but may. This is the great work which our present efforts, if persisted in, lead to. From the fact that we wake during the day, and sleep at night, might be deduced the conclusion that the direct and indirect rays of the sun and moon, have much to do with the states. As a rule, men do not rise and retire with the sun, especially in races where intellectual growth is marked. On the other hand, lower races, simpler minds, do. This might be taken to indicate that Manas, being of a higher plane, and partially active on the physical, has the power to draw from either the direct or indirect rays of the sun in maintenance of the body. In either case, however, the body will remain in condition for waking consciousness for only a certain period. Being of the earth earthy, it is subject to the general laws of forces pertaining to the earth, of which it is a part. The general laws of forces pertaining to the earth, again, are the subsidiary results of the higher laws under which advanced beings are evolving, so, it may be summed up that the body sleeps because it needs rest, the ego does not need it all the time, and because body, egos, all beings and Mavataras are possible only under the law of periodicity, activity followed by rest. Rest represents the unmanifested, and activity the manifested, the unmanifested being a limited but general state, such as sleep, in and from which, as we have heard, other higher states are accessible. So there you are, link upon link, chain upon chain, all connected and all under one great law. I have your last pamphlet from Path 4. It is nourishment in tabloid form, and will give basis for many talks. Thank you on behalf of myself and others who will be benefited. No doubt, your heartfelt desire for that benefit will be felt by those open. Yes, indeed, all our gratitude should be to HPB, and to her alter ego WQJ particularly, for those building up efforts which have for so long been passed over by selfishly ambitious theosophists, save the mark. That we are so fortunate as to be brought in touch and understanding of his Idiyava is the best of karma, and that we should feel impelled to bring this benefit to the notice of others is indicative of discrimination and a test of true discipleship. Inasmuch as ye have done it to the least of these, ye have done it unto me. It matters little if few come to the meetings, these few may be the means of bringing many, and besides, the effort and sacrifice are what bring the ultimate result. A few drops of rain do not constitute a monsoon, but they presage it. In our age it is well to consider what the great ones have done and do. Age after age, year after year, they conserve the knowledge and wait, doing what they can, and how they can in accordance with cyclic law. Knowing this and doing thus, there can be no room for doubt or discouragement. Theosophy is for those who want it, and for none others. We are holding, waiting and working for those few earnest souls who will grasp the plan and further the work, for the harvest is ready and the laborers are few. Those who were entitled to the first invitation to the feast have had it, and now with many of these, sad to say, their ears are so dulled and their attention so diverted that no number of repetitions will reach them. Yet it must be held out continually for all. That is our work, our self-assumed work. We have the example in WQJ in means, methods and spirit, and we, so doing, serve that great lodge of which he was and is a great and devoted part.